another episode of the Going Over podcast. I believe this one's number 73. Let's get this out of the way early. Fuck, shit, poop. All right, everybody. It is me, your neighborhood-friendly coach, trainer, promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb. I'm joined alongside, as always, with my podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Late night, early mornings, school projects for you. What's up, my man?
Well, not much, man. I'm just coming off of a third day of going back to teaching, so just a lot of meetings, So yeah, back to school nights, things like that. So, oh man, good times though. So that's it's exciting to get back to work and get back into the routine. So, but I mean, really looking forward to this Saturday. So hopefully this drops on Friday. The next day, Saturday, will be our generally like our biggest, like kind of I don't know if you'd call it the WrestleMania, but a lot of times a lot of storylines kind of lining up to have some resolution at this point at the Hardcore August Fight show. Normally the intensity turned up a little bit. We'll see, man. We'll see if we get the same type of commentary that you got for Extreme Measures.
We'll touch on that a little bit. Something I wanted to talk about and I wanted to get informative about was a couple things. I wanted to talk about the pump stop, which can be done in the arm drag. It can be done in the headlock takeover. Can be done in the hip toss, the back body drop, the many different maneuvers the pump stop is done for. But one thing I wanted to talk about first was the Beal bump. I wanted to talk about your left foot, unless you're in Mexico, of course, but your left foot being your plantar foot, being that foot that you pivot off of in a headlock and being in professional wrestling. So when we do this Beal bump, we take our right leg and we swing it back through and our left leg follows, which if we do a basic, just a suplex, just a basic standard suplex, as we punch into the gut and we bring the guy over, you can go back and watch Bret Hart do it. Excellently executed. He throws his right leg up and the left leg follows suit into a nice bump, whether you want to float over. As we're taking the headlock takeover and we're taking the arm drag, I wanted to talk to people about scientific professional wrestling, right? And we always say the science to this. What is the science to pro wrestling? And that's just being able to break this stuff down so everybody can understand it. So scientifically, a headlock takeover and a pro drag or a shoot drag, what either one you want to throw. So I got you in a headlock. You fire me off the rope. I hit you with a hard tackle, right? Boom. We bump hard. We sell up so the fans can see our face. That's the moment for us to sell this first bump of the match. And it's also the moment for the heel to establish early on, if he should have already done it, that he's the heel. He pulls him into the cover, the kick out. Now the sell of the tackle is over. So the babyface kicks out and he feeds up, which is just a pivot. It's a pivot off the right foot to land on that plantar left foot. Headlock takeover real quick. Boom. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple. But when the headlock takeover happens, even on the arm drag, we are planting on our left foot so that our right foot can swing around and be free. And our left leg, once it's safe, will follow on that Beal bump for a headlock takeover and for a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat pro drag. And one thing that I wanted to point out was the opposites of the two, and then we'll get to you over here, and I'll quit being so breathy. As we're feeding around for the headlock takeover, the defensive guy that's coming around that's taking the move is going to take his left arm underneath around the waist, and the guy getting the move, take it, get it, the guy getting the move is going to go up high with the left arm around the head. So for the arm drag, it's the complete opposite, right? As we come around to take the move, we go up top this time with our hand on the collarbone, and the other guy comes underneath, giving the move, taking the move with his hand underneath for an arm drag. And I've been seeing a lot of arm drags where with that, I guess they're referring to them as a do-si-do. And maybe there's some situations of why you could get into this do-si-do arm drag. But when we lock up, we usually step in a little dominant with our left leg. And we talked about it earlier. If I was to step in with my left leg and you were to step in with your right, we would collide our knees together. So both guys step in with their left leg, because in American wrestling and in Japan, the plantar leg, it's our dominant leg for our Beal bump and everything. And the reason I am against the do-si-do arm drag is because once we lock up collar and elbow, we do not want to release our collar. The second we let go of the collar on our opponent is the second that our opponent still has the collar or can go to the clinch and have control of us. The arm drag comes from trying to go around and grab a clinch. The shoot drag comes from the clinch, and when we're turning around feeding, our left hand is the first hand to grab on the collar and the neck, and we're trying to bring our right hand around, but our momentum gets us caught in what is referred to as the pro drag. So that was something that's been really bothering me when I'm in class is people are not, I feel like people aren't coaching the Beal bump, and I feel like people aren't, it might be a lost art that they're showing them that the left leg is the plantar leg and the right leg is the one that's swinging around for the left leg to catch up in the rotation.
Right, and I think that's I've seen some of your guys, the arsonists for in particular, using the way that you teach a Beal bump in his senton, his standing senton, and I've talked about that in our training numerous times. I feel like I've always taken like a Beal bump off of 2 feet. I feel like I've always, and I don't know if it's a coordination thing where I can get to 2 feet pretty quick because I'm used to doing it on a basketball type thing. Or if maybe I'm just overlooking it. Maybe I do jump off of 1 foot in arm drag, headlock takeover situations, and I just don't realize it. Because I don't watch myself do that. But in all the other cases, absolutely. The arm drag. I always think about when we're teaching, an arm drag. The beginning stages. I always feel like it's out of a lockup. It's I describe it as a guy is trying. Perfect example is something that I've seen on different reels and different YouTube things periodically recently. And it's the thing is 2 guys are walking across a room. One guy is the speaker. You're walking with another guy, and they're walking across the room, and they go, all right, it was 10 steps across the room. So it's about 5 steps back, right? So they both together side by side walk 5 steps backwards. Then the guys turn and face each other, and the guy that's speaking puts his hands up and tells the other guy put his hands up. And then he puts his hands palm to palm with the guy, and he starts shoving the guy, starts pushing, and automatically the guy starts giving resistance. So I try to give that as an example, right? We're locked up. We're jockeying for position. I'm pushing on you. You're pushing back on me. And if I'm going to give you an arm drag, I'm going to use the fact that you're pushing back on me in order to step out of the way and use your momentum against you and give you an arm drag and then take your arm, right? So I always talk about that. And I always talk about like it's the same like when we're doing our progressions. I'm going to step with my left foot, I'm going to roll left arm, right? It's all the same stuff. So I understand the teaching of that for sure. You were telling me about the suplex thing today, and it was something that I'd never thought about. And and I think you said you talked to a couple different people, and it was like you're explaining it where it makes sense, but it wasn't a way that I thought about it previously, and I didn't describe anything like this before. But it absolutely makes sense, right? And I think about it in a lot of different scenarios. When I'm teaching taking a headlock, it's always like your left foot is continually to stay planted, right? I pull the guy back to me, and my left leg is kind of the one that's going to stay kind of. I would almost say it as a pivot foot, right? I'm going to use it as a pivot in the middle of the ring, and I'm going to walk around with my right foot. I'm going to circle if I'm trying to stay in the middle. I don't want the guy to get too close to the rope so he can get a rope break. So I'm going to try to keep the guy in the middle. I'm going to try to keep my body between the rope and him and things like that. So all of the things made sense, but something in addition to that is you were talking about, when you're giving a guy a suplex, punching the guy at the waistline. And I wanted to ask you, how frustrating is it when you see a guy giving someone else a suplex and they're trying to grab the guy's tights? They're not putting a fist on the waistband and using that as a lever to push up. They're literally grabbing the guy by the side of the tights and using it as a suplex. Is that just a poorly trained person that they don't understand the leverage of how you're going to pick someone up for a suplex? You're probably not going to pick up someone's body weight by the side of their trunks or their pants or anything like that, that there's no leverage in that. Is this someone that has not been trained to do that? This is just somebody that goes, oh, I think I know how they do a suplex, so I'm going to do it like this. And you count on the guy to jump for you. Or, like for me, it's like, not that I'm just going to power anyone up, but I don't think I've ever once had a problem getting a guy to the top of a suplex, where I've had to set him back down and reposition or anything like that. It's always very much just, just push the dude up, and I'm probably going to lift him up, regardless of how much the guy helps me.
Both.
Right.
It's both. It's poorly trained, and it's somebody who doesn't know what the fuck, excuse me, they're doing. There's 3 types of suplexes. There's the old Dynamite Kid, Chris Benoit snap. There's that one. That's an easier one to do. You're just getting underneath and using your hips and wheeling the guy around. That could be a palm on the upper thigh or the cock. The second easiest one is the stalling suplex, unless the guy's just out of shape and can't get up there, which shouldn't be doing it to him anyways. That one, they go up and you're holding them, and then you come down. I think the hardest suplex is the one I talked about, going up and just suplexing the guy, because if you don't know how to Beal bump, if you don't know how to high school boy with the one leg, like even the snap bump comes off the left leg, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Everything comes off of that left leg, and it's okay. I was just talking about that earlier. A pump stop. You come off, you pump, you go. You come off, you pump, you go. You can teach the Beal bump as the pump stop off 2 feet, flip into the pool or on the trampoline. You can also, the more difficult one, but it is the correct way, is to teach it off of one leg. Whatever's easiest for you seems to work. And I get Lucha Libre. I get that guys, they may think it's easier to do the hooking arm drag, but the thing is, you've hooked the guy, and you're dosey-doed. Nothing dealt with the collar. The arm drag comes off the clinch. Wrestling comes off a clinch control and 2-on-1 control. You first got to teach these guys to wrestle like we talked about, standing up. And once they can work that head, neck, and arm area and, run off the ropes, reversals, all that good shit, you then work your way down to the waist, which the waist is the transition, the general transition to get from the upper body down to the lower body. And guys have submission holds and yank on the leg and kick on the leg and put on a figure four. Everybody knows how to throw on the old figure four somewhat, or the sharpshooter. But to actually transition from the upper body using the waist control and sit outs and switches and standing switches and all that waist control, amateur breakdowns, to transition down to the leg, if you're a submission wrestler, to get down there, it is very difficult to do. So there's a very few amount of professional wrestlers, I would say, in the world today that can start up here, transition properly at the waist, and then actually start chain wrestling and attacking the leg. We talked about before, Tim Thatcher and Oliver John holding a headlock for 5 minutes until the end of the match, which is very impressive and very rare to do as well, but a lot easier than having two guys with submission holds, submission finishes, chain wrestling the leg to go to some proverbial heat, build a comeback, and then start exchanging those finishing moves until one guy locks on. It's very rare that you're going to see that. So it's just, they say, Zack, you're outdated. You're stuck in the 80s or whatever it is. And it's not stuck in the 80s, man. There is a way to do everything. And like I like to tell my guys, I'll show you how to hit that corner, and I'm going to show you how to hit it right. And if you can hit it right 100 times and you just naturally can hit it right, then once you're perfect at hitting that corner right, then you can start adding other stuff to hitting the corner. But don't try to fall on your face or fling over the top, or do not try to do something creative yet until you can hit that corner correctly, that corner buckle, till you can hit it correctly every time. Once you can do that every time, repetition, and you got it every time, no matter where they're whipping you from, or if you run yourself into it, then you can go ahead and get creative. And that's the problem we talk about nowadays, is the running before. No, we need to learn how to crawl, and then we can step and take steps, and then we can walk, and then we can get a light brisk jog going. And then if we get really confident, we can move 1,000 miles an hour, as long as we're doing it safely and correctly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that there's so many things like that that we watch and go, is this person, do you watch wrestling and go, hey, I know how to do it, right? Someone doesn't have to show me how to do it. I can already do it. I know what's going on. And I know in a lot of cases, like I remember, that's kind of the description that I got from, Adam, Corey, Luster, things like that. Like they were found kind of doing their backyard stuff. And Brian Brigger, when he found them, said, you guys know how to do all the stuff, but you don't know how to put it together psychology wise. You understand how to take bumps and things like that. There's just little polishing things that need to be done so you can be a real pro wrestler, right? So, and I feel like I kind of came into wrestling with a general idea from watching, for me, it was watching the first Tough Enough and understanding the type of bumps you were going to probably be taking and mentally preparing myself to do those type of things. But I feel like we see so many things where, the suplex is just one of them, grabbing the side of the pants, trying to lift someone up by the side of the pants. It's like, there's no realism to that at all. I'm not going to be able to grab a guy by the side of the underwear or the side of the pants, anything like that, and lift him up, right? Unless you grab his dick and twist it, right? So maybe you could
twist it.
Maybe you could get him off the ground like that because he's already on his toes. But yeah, I just think about things like that, and I remember seeing. I don't remember where it was, but I was watching guys Irish whip each other, and it was like they had the brother grip, like you dap someone up, like you gave them the dap, and they just interlock their hands. That was the Irish whip. I'm like, what are these guys doing? Like this, like you're not going to hold on to somebody like that. But I don't know. I just think about things like that. But I was also, I was thinking about you sent me that match today, and I was thinking about like um, how impressive is it for you as a guy that can work if you get in there with somebody who's just the shits, just the absolute dog shit, right? And you can get in there and you can carry this person through a wrestling match. Granted, the one you sent me was not very good, and I feel like this would be the perfect interjection for the dark neon comments right at this point. Start watching a
Remember.
match, just have him just jump in there and start just bashing the participants, and I don't know. I found it. I just found it so amusing because the way I described it to you was, it looks like years ago when you saw those people, kind of the spoof on pro wrestling when they were wrestling in slow motion. I was like, it looked like these people were wrestling in slow motion, except for they weren't trying to do that. It was just like, it just looked like a struggle. It's like the one person is trying to give the other person a headlock takeover, and it's like it almost looks like you're trying to block it, but it's like you either don't know how to take the headlock takeover, or you're just like you're talking about with getting your steps correct, and having the amount of repetitions that it takes, where you go, someone's giving me a headlock takeover and you're on autopilot, you just know how to do it. It was almost like this person was gathering their steps and like, okay, which leg should I throw over the top here to take this headlock takeover? And yeah, and for some reason I just watched it all the way through. I know most of the time you're just like, I got through 2-3 minutes, I had to turn it off. But I was just sitting there. I don't know what happened. I was just in the zone. I was just watching, just because
I'm feeling it today.
I love terrible wrestling. I just love watching bad wrestling. But that match was a perfect example. And I don't know how many times this has happened, but someone will send you a match. They're looking to get booked, right? I currently have several people that have just sent me matches and they're trying to get booked, right? I sent you one. I don't know if you even watched it, but I sent you one, and I was like, oh, "Hey, let's see if you'd want to work with this guy." But
I would.
yeah, why not, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love it. I'd love to do that. But yeah, this was one of those cases where if this person sent me this video, it would be one of those where I'd be like, oh, not really interested in you, but who's the person that you're working with who's carrying you through this match? It would be the total backfire of someone sending you a match and trying to get booked. Like, not super interested in you, but who's the person that's bumping for you, or who's the person that's carrying you through this match? Go ahead.
Oh, you just said just a key word right there. You said bumping, and I see so many bad bumps. Right? It's like the cardinal rule in this thing that we hear all the time is attack the mat. The harder we bump, the less it's going to hurt. The harder we bump, the more it's going to kick us back up. And I see so many bumps that are like elbows down and palms down. I mean, like hands down like this. Like you have to bump with your palms down. And the reason we're bumping with our palms down is so that our elbow clears the mat. And if we bump like this, we're directly hitting our elbow point. And then you get all this. Where are you at right here? You get all this fat pockets of water that you got to break on the ring to bust open. And it's like the bump has just become this terrible thing, man. Like I've seen guys that are working 5-10 years, some longer, And I talk to him myself and I go, hey, you're bumping bad. You're bumping bad. And as we get older, we're bumping. Hey, if you can't high school boy bump no more, because that's the first thing that goes, we've always talked about that, don't fucking take it. But if you can't snap bump anymore, if you can't take a handspring bump and a Beal bump, if you can't do these simple bumps anymore that you should be able to do, these basic ones, because I think the snap bump is the most important towards the end of the match, and the Beal bump is the most important early on in the contest. I feel like that's exactly how that goes. Like early on, you're going to take a lot of rolls and Beal bumps, and down the road at the end of the match, you're going to take a lot of snap bumps, and you're also going to take that handspring bump. That's going to come with a big back body drop. The high schoolboy bump is those big ones that guys are taking because they're not snaps, man. You're way up in the air. You're prolific with your finisher for a high schoolboy bump. And we are not just taking a high schoolboy bump of normalcy. We're taking one that we're going up 9 feet in the air with that 7-foot wingspan you have. So if somebody doesn't take a good high schoolboy bump for your finishing move, Paul, it's going to make you look bad. It's going to make you look bad. So these bumps have to be good, man, especially on the comeback. And I just see, so many bumps nowadays where the bump is bad. They're not attacking the mat hard enough. And also the guy is not safely putting his palms down. So he's just mutilating his elbow. He's not getting his hips up off the ground. You can land flat, but when you do, get your hips up off the impact. It's landing there and sticking is going to be the difference between bang to thud. Dunk. My lower back is gone.
That's it, man. True. Very true. I feel like it's the difference between feeding for a chop and caving your chest in for a chop, where you get the good sound or you get the hollow thud sound where it's like, oh, it just sounded like you just got punched in the chest. But I was trying to get a little bit of noise in the arena. So I don't know, man. It's so many things like that, I believe, is happening, and I don't know, man. Are we getting too lenient on? Like, I don't know, man. I just think about how many bumps I took, in the first 6 months of training. Had to be thousands of bumps, because you're trying to perfect, taking a snap bump. So you're taking 100 snap bumps in a training session because you're working on something over and over and over because your trainer wants it to be perfect, right? And I feel like I'm kind of the same type of way, right? I want it to be like, all right, you took a good one, now you got to take a bunch of more good ones, right? Let's build the muscle memory to that's what a good one feels like, that's what a good one sounds like. Let's get that going. Let's make sure we got that good muscle memory, and because I think just like you said, those snap bumps, and I don't know how many times I've told our students the same thing. It's like that's the one you're going to take the most of. You need to be really, really fucking good at taking snap bumps, because if you're not, you're going to take 8 good ones and you're going to take 1 bad one, and you're going to leave the match and you're like, fuck, dude, that hurts. That match killed me, right? Because you take a bad bump, and you're just now you're all tweaked up, and you don't know what to do. So getting those things down, and trying to, I guess for me it's like I don't, sometimes I'm not feeling like our guys are understanding the concept. You just said taking the handspring bump. And I don't think they understand the concept, even though I over and over and over tell them you're taking a handspring bump because it's emulating taking a backdrop, right? You're not just going to somersault over someone when they're giving you a backdrop. It's going to look terrible. We we talk about AJ Styles over and over about taking a high backdrop and, you know, the stunt man flailing the arms on the way down and tucking the chin at the end and taking a, you know, an 8-inch, a bump from 8 inches from the canvas.
Oh, I thought
Right?
you were going somewhere else with that.
Yeah, taking 8 inches in the back drop. Yeah, so but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I sent you that at one point I sent you the picture of me giving AJ Kirsch a backdrop, and you were like, oh, looks like this dude was well taught because tucked his chin, you know, very close to the mat and landed, you know, nice and flat, and you know, it doesn't feel like you're falling from 10 feet in the air, because you're doing a lot of theatrics, a lot of flailing around in the air and trying to slow your momentum down a little bit and taking a bump at the very end.
Great fundamentals on AJ Kirsch. He has great fundamentals. There's a lot of wrestlers that never made it that have great fundamentals too. A lot of guys don't make it in this business. You know, a lot of these places are what I'm seeing online. A lot of places are turning into crash pad city, man. It looks like a fucking trampoline park with the big fucking sponge pool out there where you hit the trampoline and you do all your flips out into the sponge pool. And it's like, man, if you got to have a place full of crash pads, you're doing way too much other shit than wrestling, man. I've had some guys throw the crash pad out for some stuff, and I say, get the pussy pad out of here. We don't use that shit here. We don't. We're not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. If you need that crash pad, truck along, my friend. Just truck down the road. And that's the thing. You know, people are going to argue a lot of stuff, and everyone's going to want to argue. Everyone's going to say, well, you can do it this way, you can do it that way. That's fine. Go ahead. You know, we haven't figured out an intelligent way to impact the mat safely, except for the one way that we do it. You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing this for years like this, and it raise the athleticism. I talk about it all the time. You know, do whatever, change the music, wear flashier colors, whatever you're changing with the times is cool. But what we're doing in that ring safely is the same shit over and over and over again. If you don't bump with your palms down, you're going to fuck up your elbows. That's it. You know what I mean? If you don't have points of contact when you hit these ropes, if they break, bye-bye. You are going to the fucking hard concrete or hardwood floor very fast as well. You know, turning your back to that rope if you don't have some points of contact. That's why guys are stealing a little bit of the lucha thing and grabbing the middle rope now, because at least it's another point of contact. I make 3 points of contact when I hit the ropes. I am old school when it comes to these things. But studying what's going on out here, I just see a lot of stuff when I'm watching it, and there's too much space, way too much steps, bad bumps without the palms going down. And it really just feels like everybody is rushing everything. And what I mean by rushing everything is they're just getting into the stuff too fast. Like, hey, if you're gonna hit me with a punch, a forearm, or something like that, draw that thing back. Let's get a good look at it. What it's also gonna do for me as the opponent is I'm going to safely be able to block it and exchange back and forth with you if you're working with me. That's why it's called working together. You know, when people, the biggest praise you can get in the business is when someone says, man, that guy can work. That guy's a good worker. He's solid. You like to hear solid. You know what I mean?
Right. I love to hear that guy's a night off.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I like that comment. That guy's oh fuck, man, working with Paul, it's a night off. That's what I love.
Well, you're gonna get all that stuff, man. We could talk about this over and over and over again, and I just feel like it's so easy nowadays to just whip right through the programming of everything. You know what I mean? It's just too easy to get in there at training and say, hey, this is how we do this. Here's how we do that. And scientific wrestling. What is scientific wrestling? It's breaking down wrestling so that even the kids or the youngsters or even the old guys trying, that you understand why you're doing this. What's the name of the move? I should be able to say reverse arm drag, double wrist lock, inside double wrist. I should be you should know the names of these moves, not just the names of the finishers that the pros use. You should know the names of the holds. You should do your research. When your coach tells you or someone tells you what this is, you should know why you're doing it. You should know where you're grabbing, how you're moving. You should know the science of why all this works. Why are we doing this? How does this momentum shift over here? Why would I do this? Why would I take that? Why am I selling this like this? Why did this punch hurt my head? And it's, we go back to a lot of things where we go, maybe I'll just take a baseball bat and hit you in the back as hard as I can. So one thing I like to do when I'm training guys is when they really knock the wind out of themselves or knock their head or anything. If it's something I know it really hurt them, I always go, hey, good sell, man. That's what I'm talking about. All right, next. And they're over here going, oh, I'm willing to hit my head. And I'm like, I know you did. I got guys that have been there a while and they just refuse to attack the mat hard on a bump. And I tell them, I say, hey, they're like, maybe we shouldn't have him do that. And I go, no, he knows how to do it right. He just is taking bad bumps, which I always ask him, I say, why in the fuck would you take that dangerous, inappropriate, incorrect bump and when you know how to take the correct one? Because if you take the correct one and attack the mat, you're going to be fine and not even feel it. But you're falling backwards a mile and whacking your head off the mat. And I pointed out to some guys like, man, how dangerous of a drive home is that for some of these guys? I see it in their head when they hit. They're like, and I see it happen like 3 or 4 times in one class, and then they get behind the wheel of the car and they drive home. I bet that's a fun one. I see 3 stoplights. Just guide at the one in the middle. You know what I mean? I can't see the colors of the lights anymore. Yeah, because you fucking were lazy and bumped wrong. You can't be lazy. If you got 5 bumps to take in a match, you've chosen to take 5. Oh God. And you take 4 good ones and 1 bad one. There's a chance that 1 bad one is going to put you on the shelf.
Exactly. Well, you talk about selling and and we've always kind of had that where does it hurt? I don't know, thousands of times I've said that phrase, where does it hurt? Because you got somebody selling, it's like just like we were talking about Devin and a reversal or a change of holds or whatever. It's like, I don't give a shit if you do something, but when I ask you why you did it, it needs to have a good reason, right? Why are you selling this part of your body? Well, this is why I think that part of the body is where I would have been hurting, right? There's the great example of a guy standing in the corner, and you're trying to break the habit of a guy in the corner just reaching his arms out and grabbing the ropes, right? And not, if you get kicked in the gut, you don't, sell the gut. You get kicked in the face, you don't sell the face. You just have your hands on the ropes, right? And the guy is just beating you, unmercifully, and you just keep hanging on to the ropes. And so you're like, yeah, go ahead, put your hands on the rope, and then you just reach down and grab the dude by the nuts, right? And it's like they automatically are trying to get your hands off of there, right? And it's like, oh, why are you doing that? Well, because you're fucking squeezing my nuts. Oh, because it hurts there, right?
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
because now you're selling there, or you fucking reach out and you grab the dude by the neck and you start choking him, and they try to get your hands off their neck. It's like, why are you doing that? It's like, because you're choking me. It's like, oh, I see. So you're trying to get my hands off the place that I'm hurting you. And it's like all these different things are the same way. It's like I got you in a wrist lock. You know, are you gonna be you gonna let me have one of your arms and you're gonna just flail your other arm out to the side, or are you gonna try to get my hands off of your wrist? You know, like let's try to make things make sense. You know, why does it hurt? Where does it hurt? You know, let's try to answer those questions while we're selling.
Let's blindfold the entire roster at the next show and blindfold every single person working on the show. I'll grab the ring bell hammer, no lube. They can keep their pants on. I'll shove it in between their butt cheeks real quick. And I guarantee you, whether they like it or not, they're going to react to the bell hammer, the ring bell hammer wooden part going in between their butt cheeks. If I walk up and grab your junk, you're going to go, hey, man, get off my junk. You know what I mean? If you yawn and I put my finger down your mouth, you're going to go, what are you doing? Like, why does it have to be something gross for you and uncomfortable for you to react the proper way to it? It's just feast mode. Look at that. Look at it. Welcome to the coffee world, Mr. Isadora.
It's as big as my head, bud.
That's a man. Look at me with my little baby brown over here. Sometimes I like to drink my baby brown, and I'm jacked up on coffee today. And I'm jacked up on Mountain Dew and coffee right now. And we're talking about a little bit of pro wrestling over here. What the collar and elbow tie up? What is it? I don't know. If you're doing a do-si-do arm drag, you might not know the importance of a collar and elbow tie-up. If you're suplexing a guy by the side of his spandex right here and trying to lift 240 pounds, I'm sorry, man. Do you get under? If I get under the bench press, I get under the bench press and get that thing lined up with my chest, and I push it out. I push it right there. I get a good grip on that thing. I don't get under the bench press and put my hands on top of the bench press and try to lift it up this way. Logic, right? Like we're logically thinking, man. And then people go, well, you know, I do it this way. Well, you ain't gonna do it that way to me, because you're gonna dump me on my fucking head. And you try to explain this stuff, and I think training has gotten to that point too, because you know, if you think we're talking about you, we are talking about you. Everybody thinks they can get out there and I can buy a fucking ring now, right? I can rent a fucking building. I can put this shit in there. I can run a fucking show, and you know, I can get monetized and I can run a show. Well, do you have a fictitious business statement? Do you have a license? Are you a sole proprietor with an LLC? You know, hey, we've all ran some shit business at some times, man, but are you doing this right? Because if you're not doing this right, at the end of the day, you will not make money. If you can't open up a bank account, if somebody cannot, and I've experienced this, if Doc and everyone got on me for a while, if they can't write a check to Pro Championship Wrestling and that can't be cashed that way, then my business is not being ran in an efficient way where I can legally make money and do my taxes. These are things. I am a dinosaur, and that's the truth. I had it when I talked about that meeting we had. All that meeting was all the husbands and wives and adults sitting down and the PowerPoint, and I'm over here going, we gotta pass out flyers and promote, and that's what we have to do. And everyone's like, yeah, no shit, Zack. We get that. We understand that's why this company's still around after this long. But it's 2025 and it's about to be 2026. This is how a company makes money legally. And this, you know what I mean? Like, this is how we do the damn thing. And it's the same thing with the work in the ring, man. Hey, you want to do a million flips, dives, dumps, dips, and dodges? You know, I was talking to Marcus Mack. You know, I hadn't talked to Marcus Mack in a while. And somebody made a accusation online that Zack Reeb stole the APW Internet Championship. And I was like, what? I did I? And I talked to Marcus, and Marcus was like, yeah, I checked the messages from the show. You actually came to the show the previous week. And I was like, well, first off, I'm not a thief. I wish you would have started that conversation with, you're not a thief. That would have been nice. I'm not going to disrespect Roland Alexander or you. I never stole nothing in my life except the show sometimes, right? Oh, wrestling related humor.
That's
But
right there. They were hanging from the rafters.
well, I saw that and I was thinking in my head, it was like these guys blue tag my name on there. And the person even said, hey, it's about time I reveal this secret that I've known for 7 to 8 years. I was told Zack Reeb stole the internet title. And Marcus and everyone, like, he wasn't even there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, no shit, I wasn't there. And I'm not a thief, by the way. But, and then the other guy comes on there and goes, yeah, this person did say that too. Zack Reeb stole this. And I'm baffled at these comments going on because I'm sitting here going, these people are admitting that they had the suspect who stole the belt for the last 5 to 7 years. They knew who did it in their minds, and they kept it a secret for what? That makes you as bad as whoever stole the goddamn thing. You know what I mean? It's like we have to do better. And there's so many people out there that are saying, "Oh, well, this is the way we do something and that's the way we do something." Hey man, I've been around a long time. I've worked under a lot of great people, and I talk to a lot of great people in this business. I don't have to mention names. The resume speaks for itself on what I do. The same for you. The same for many guys out there. The same for the Big Ugly. The same for the Chupacabra. The same for Rick Luxury, Boyce LeGrand. So many out there, man. So many out there. I could keep dropping Luster the Legend, Adam Thornstock. I could keep dropping names of these great guys that have been in this business for a long. Dylan Drake, Matt Carlos. I could throw them out there. Sparky Ballard. I got Marcus Mack. I could throw some great names out there. I'll stop now. But what I'm saying is, there's a way that we do this, in talking to Marcus. Hopefully Marcus listens, because I had a great conversation with him and I said, hey, you coming back, man? And we had to talk about why he wasn't, which totally justified, and why he doesn't want to come back right now. But he said, I that's why I book so many names and stuff, and really good workers to come in, because he said, I don't really want to see all these guys do all these flips and shit like that. It's hard to it's disheartening, man. And I agree with them 100%. And I agree with anybody who says it. It's disheartening, man, because here's why. There's so much fucking talent. There's so many companies and so many athletes and so much talent out there. It's like, man, if we could just get a hold of some of these guys and show them a little bit of the basic fundamental psychology of this, how great professional wrestling as a whole, not just in NorCal, but across the whole board, will be.
Absolutely, man. It's obviously it's the guys that have the more old school, or I guess you call it old school, but to me, I just think it's pro wrestling. But you have the people that have like maybe the more old school perception on wrestling and what it should be like, and then so when you see it, where I don't know, man. I feel like you sent me that match today, and some of the stuff I feel like is you're gonna go out there and you're going to you're just doing theatrics. You're not doing pro wrestling. It just happens to be in a pro wrestling ring, right? But you're not telling a story. It's not getting sympathy. It's not getting heat. It's none of that stuff. It's just choreographed and phony and all these the things that we as maybe more old school guys just despise about the pro wrestling business that's going on right now with where it looks like a gymnastics competition, right? It's just a bunch of flips, and you're going. A real fight doesn't look that clean, right? It doesn't look that flawless. You're gonna have, I don't know how many times we've talked about, you're throwing punches, and for people that have actually been in a fist fight, you're probably not going to land a lot of punches that are uh, real square, right? You're gonna hit your knuckle on somebody. You're gonna tweak your wrist. Lots of different things are going to happen. You're not going to hit a lot of clean shots, right? Unless you cheap shot someone, maybe. But we're not putting that into the cell, right? You see so many times where it's like I punch a guy in the face 15 times, 19 times sometimes, and but there's never any shake the hand. There's never any like, oh man, I hurt myself. Nothing like that, right? It's like I can just punch a guy in the face 10 times and my hand is perfectly fine. I didn't hurt myself at all. I hit all the punches perfectly square, all these different things, but it's just not realistic. So, I think some people that look at it from a competition, a real fight type aspect, you see those things and they're frustrating because it doesn't seem like it's realistic to you, and it's like you're making a mockery of the pro wrestling that I grew up loving, because you are you don't in my mind a lot of times is I just don't take it seriously, right? Yeah, I'm going out there and I'm fake fighting with my friends in my underwear on the weekends, and it's just a check mark on a box, right? I'm just checking this box that I'm a pro wrestler. I want to tell all my buddies I'm a pro wrestler. Come watch me. I'll be pro wrestling this weekend. I won't be selling anything, and I'll just when someone's beating me up, I'll sell. But as soon as I'm on the offensive, you know what? I no longer feel any of that pain. I'm in ass kicker mode, right? I'm impervious to pain. So I don't know. That's the frustration. I can see what Marcus is talking about for sure.
Well, I mean, if there was one guy doing a gymnastics routine, that's cool, right? Like that's okay. Who does the best flips? Who's the best at doing the flips and the dive outs? Oh, that guy? Okay, that's the guy that's going to do it in this company. Let
Right.
him do that, I I just I just look at it and it's been going on for the dawn of time, right? Like everybody thinks they know what's best. Everybody has the best opinion. Everybody knows pro wrestling. It's in sports, man. It's anything in life. You could be out here fucking changing the oil in a car, and someone thinks they know how to change the oil in the car better than you because they watched a YouTube video or they sat at the fucking Jiffy Lube and they got a tutorial at the Jiffy Lube because they didn't get taught at the Jiffy Lube. They watched the guy change the oil in their car. I fill my gas tank up better than you because I'm better at pulling the fucking nozzle, the hose in the nozzle off and hitting the old 87. But I'm better than you because I use 91. Man, there's just so much bickering and fighting about pro wrestling. And it's like, I just wanted to learn pro wrestling. I just wanted to get better. I mean, Mike Modest, I've had many, many phone calls with Mike, and I worked him one time at Revolution at John O'Connell in San Francisco. Me and him got done with our match. We had like a 25-minute match at Pro Wrestling Revolution, and we went and had a couple beers and smoked a little a legal tender on the steps, and we just sat there and just talked about wrestling, man. And I listened to Mike because Mike was telling me what I did well and giving me advice and telling me what I didn't do well. And I never didn't listen to what Mike even on the phone when I talked to him for hours sometimes, just randomly out of nowhere. Mike will call me or I'll call Mike or we'll just talk to each other. And I listen to everything he says, even to this day, because I want to know. I want to know what he thinks. Because even if I go, I know more than this person. I didn't watch what I was doing out there live. I didn't hear, I didn't catch what this guy might have caught. 5 minutes remain in the podcast. 5 minutes. So it's one of those things, man. I love when you come up to me after a show or a match and I go, what do you think? And I just remember this last time you were like, well, not the last one, the time before. And you were like, oh, those punches were bad. All three of them were bad. And I was like, oh shit, they felt bad. And then I went back. You always have the hard cam footage when we go eat afterwards. And I was like, let me see that shit. And I was like, the first one was passable. Second one was kind of bad. Third one sucked. But I'm like, the first one was okay. And the second one was passable. And you're like, oh, they all three sucked. And I just have to admit to myself, like, okay, they all three did suck. And you're just being honest with me. And I think that's the problem with wrestling is people aren't used to honesty. People say they're real. People say, I'm going to give you the real deal scoop. I'm going to tell you how it is. And they tell you how it is when they want to tell you how it is, or when their backs are pushed against the wall or put into a confrontational situation. But if you tell somebody, hey, man, work on this, work on that, this and that, 9 times out of 10, if it's not 10 out of 10, they're going to walk away being like, fuck that guy. He don't know shit. And that's okay, but that's just a bad attitude to have. And then someone's going to, if they get to that next level, fucking Shawn Michaels or someone's going to tell them the exact same thing. And they're going to be like, yeah, Sean, I got you this time. Oh, thanks, Sean. Thanks, Sean. And it's like, okay, whatever, man. But, just want everyone to get better. I just feel like even through these funny rants that we're going on, there's a lot of fucking talent out here. A lot of young guys that have a lot of fucking talent. And it's just about getting better and learning, man. So I like to see the guys that are going different places and working with different people, and then they're thanking that person for the knowledge they picked up. I'd just like to talk to those people to see what did you really pick up? Tell me, give me the feedback.
Exactly. It's not a I'm trying to hurt your feelings type of thing, right? It's I'm trying to make you better. And I've said it, numerous times. My least favorite critique when you come back through the curtain is someone that goes, "Oh, great job out there, man. Great job." It's like nothing I could have fixed. No, everything was good, man. It's like I hate that. I hate that. That's just like you didn't do everything correct. You didn't, get everything right. There has to be something I can work on, something I can fix, something I could do better, right? There has to be something, right? The match was far from perfect. So I don't know, man. It's a mindset thing, and it might be the striving for perfection type mentality that it takes to be a professional basketball player for me. Maybe is you want all the critiques. What can I do better? What any little tweak I can do to get a little bit more out of it. So that's what we want, and I think that's it tends to be what we do to other people as well. You give them the type of advice that you'd like to get, right? The honest, keeping it 100, as they say. That's what you want, right? And some people are not prepared to take that type of feedback and constructive criticism, unfortunately. So, but we're gonna keep trying, man. We're just gonna keep trying, and hopefully, at some point, it rubs off and someone goes, man, I got this advice. It happens. Illuminate is a perfect example.
Well, if we tell you to watch a match, to watch the movement or watch, don't watch the moves, watch the match so you can figure out what they're doing when the crowd's coming up, going down, all that stuff. If you can't watch this program, if you can't watch this podcast and realize, yeah, they're saying some stuff to be funny and just having a good time out here. But if you can't watch this podcast and learn and figure out what the fuck we're talking about, then you're just not there yet, man. And that's okay. And that's okay, because there was a point where I wasn't there yet. There was a point many of us weren't there yet. So do yourself a favor. shut the fuck up. No, I'm just playing, but really do and listen. But go out there this weekend. All you guys with shows this weekend, get out there, listen to the audience, and try to organically do some stuff and not just choreograph everything. I'm Zack Primetime Reeb, Wrecking Ball Paul Isadora.